Yo.
Yo, it's your boy Smurf. We back at it. I got a special guest with me
Hey.
today.
Yours truly, Simply Troy.
Yes, sir. We got Troy in the building. All right. We wanted to bring y'all a different kind of video today. We wanted to talk about Deku versus Boruto and why this fight really isn't fair.
Yeah, it just isn't fair at all. If you want to know some inside details, this is actually take 2 of the video. We did not record take 1.
Look, well, all I'm saying is, bro, ain't my fault, but it is my fault.
Yeah,
But anyway.
it was someone's fault. We're not gonna mention who. Okay.
But we really want to talk about this. This fight has been brought up so many times in the past like couple months. Troy even had a debate on it. You can check that on his channel, Simply Troy.
Yes, sir. It's pretty funny. Say
It's
some hilarious things, man.
But yeah, we wanted to bring this up because it's a very weird fight, right? Y'all know for the most part, I've been talking about My Hero content, and trust me, I'm getting back to it, y'all. But Troy also covers Boruto, which is more reason why we have him here today to cover all the nitty gritty. But we want to get into it. And I want to start by talking about Deku. Now, we want to also give both of these characters a fair shake, right? We don't want to utterly stomp somebody out. So to let y'all know, we're going to be using Deku from the manga up into current chapter. So this is
we're gonna be using. Oh yeah, spoiler if you haven't read up into recent My Hero,
Yes.
But we're also, to make it fair, we're gonna be using, for the majority of this, we're gonna be using Ao fight Boruto, or Boruto before he actually unlocks the karma.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we might as well just kind of roll into it. So I want to talk about Deku's speed. So for a lot of time in the My Hero series, we see Deku kind of using 5% for a lot of his speed feats that we get up to. More so up into things like Lady Nagant, and post Star and Stripe fight, Shigaraki, etc. But I want to kind of cover everything that I can in this moment. So early on, we see Deku being able to react to and dodge things like Bakugo's explosions, which by statements of Horikoshi, they're like nitroglycerin. So if you know anything about nitroglycerin, it can reach speeds up to like Mach 22. There's calcs that put things like this at transonic to supersonic speeds. And later on, Deku is reaching hypersonic speeds where he can travel at Mach 7 speed. And for some people that have certain issues with that too, we do see Deku a lot of times dodging things like bullets, being able to outrun Shigaraki's decay while pulling a bus while carrying people at the same time. And then later on, he gets faster where he's comparable to Bakugo, which gets him around like Mach 9 when he's able to do things like the explosion that he does versus 9 in one of the My Hero movies. I do know there's some contention with the My Hero movies and whether they're canon or not. Horikoshi just blatantly states in some of his interviews that the movies are extensions of the original story that he just wasn't able to fit in. He does view them as canon. You'll find very few things that are not canon to the My Hero verse. But moving on, we also know that he gets to the sub-relativistic to light speed area when he goes and he fights post Star and Stripe Shigaraki. Now you can wank Deku at this point. Now to touch on the Star and Stripe point. In this fight, we see Star and Stripe call upon lasers that are fired from, I believe there's 11 jets. So 11 lasers are being pointed on Shigaraki and they fire off at him. And he's able to catch these lasers and reflect them onto Star and Stripe, who then is able to be so fast that she's able to cast a rule and catch these lasers. So you can use this to kind of wank both of their reaction speeds to something like light speed, maybe even faster. We also see Star and Stripe react to Shigaraki's radio waves, which we know those move at light speed also. And then Deku later on, he goes and he's able to speed blitz and perception blitz Shigaraki in this stronger state of One for All, and just pummel Shigaraki at this point. Now for some folks who have problems with consistent light speed, we have things that are very contentious, but we also have some things that are just kind of more explicit. You take it for what you will, but we have things like Oyama's light that is stated, his laser, which is stated to be light. We also have things like in the My Hero movies, which again are stated to be canon, where he's able to dodge lasers being reflected off of mirrors. And I can put the clip up here for you guys, but it is in the My Hero movies that are canon. And then later on, he's able to get faster when he unlocks transmission from one of the other vestiges, and he's able to reach percentages of One for All at 120%. So even if you want to wank Deku, you can get him to sub-relativistic to FTL plus. It is stated that he can increase his speed while ignoring inertia. So a person can make the argument that he can make himself as fast as he wants, but it's kind of a hazy argument when you get to those upper areas of light speed. I've heard people talk about massively faster than light, and the argument doesn't really hold up when we've only really gotten consistent light speed to maybe faster than light arguments for him. But from this point, we can get into Boruto speed scaling.
Yeah, so like Smurf said, if we want to really wank him off and just, put him into the higher echelons of where he actually scales, we can just grant him FTO speeds, right? This is just kind of to show you how much of a stomp this truly is. So a weaker form of Boruto could contend with someone named Ao. Now, if you didn't know, Ao is a Hokage, ex-Hokage guard, and when you're tasked with the mission of guarding the Kage or Hokage respectively, you kind of have to be a very well-equipped ninja. Minimum Jonin, you got to be like at the upper echelon of Jonin, not quite on that Kage level, but someone strong enough to protect him if harm was to come his way. So knowing this, other Hokage guards such as Darui and people like C is able to just emit light from his body in like a flash. People can react to that. Darui is able to reflect light rays off of water particles and make a laser circuit. And the Raikage himself is able to travel at light speeds bare minimum. In just weaker forms, he's able to just travel like a flash of light or light speeds or close to light, just like, it's stated within the data books. People such as MS Sasuke, Killer B, who are in their weaker forms and uncontrolled and kind of fatigued, could react to all of these light-like attacks, dodge them, and just outperform these light speed attacks. That's ignoring all of the boosts and massive power dynamic that shifts within the war arc, things that Ao should now scale to or above due to having this high technological advancements now and just having robots that can just shoot laser beams at will. Now, laser beams in fiction is a bit contentious on how fast they are, but scaling them to characters like the Raikage, Darui, and people like that, and into this new generation with higher technology, it's pretty safe to say that through the light speed to FTL ranges, and Boruto has no issue with dodging these set attacks from Ao. Even outperforms Ao at a few instances and wins the fight. So he should have no trouble with keeping up to this higher wanked level of Deku at all. Now we can get into how hard they hit because that's really the deciding factor in the fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm pretty sure some people may know, but for the new people who may not be hip to Deku scaling, we can get Deku easily over things like large building level. Early on, we see he was able to knock out the 5-pointer robot in the entrance exams, and even later on he's able to hurt Bakugo, who can just destroy large buildings casually just from, I guess, being irritated. And Todoroki kind of was able to pull off similar feats, and we know that Deku is stronger than the both of them at points. And then we also know that he's able to damage and beat Muscular on not one but two occasions, who is easily able to just kind of flatten mountains, right? We see how strong he is and how much he can keep amping himself to get over those levels. And Deku was just able to struggle the first time putting him down, but also the second time just one-shot him without a problem. And later on, we're able to see Deku also, like I mentioned earlier, box up a stronger Shigaraki, who we could probably get Shigaraki to Continental if you want to believe the naming interpretation of her attack that puts it at this hypersonic intercontinental type of attack. Shigaraki was able to tank that, and there are reasons why he was able to tank that, but if you want to get into the calcs for it. I can link some below. But if you want to believe that he actually is continental, then Deku later on just kind of supersedes that, because he's able to come in and not only, like I mentioned earlier, outspeed him, but Shigaraki is also just getting the dog piss beat out of him by Deku. Like, he can't keep up with them, and it gets bad for him. So we know he obviously scales over the total defense Shigaraki at that point. He beats him so bad that he actually ends up losing the form at some point. So even then, I've heard some people they love to use the All Might 60% back scale, which it depending on how you look at that, it can get someone like Prime All Might to maybe like low planetary, I've heard and I've read, and maybe sometimes even a little over that depending on how it's looked at. But is that something I believe? But if you think that All Might is low planetary, based on the calcs that people have presented, then Deku being stated to surpass this version of All Might would just be somewhere around a level, if not stronger than that. With Star and Stripe not exactly being able to reach that level because she just stated that she can't make herself as strong as Prime All Might. So if you want to wank Deku, you can get him anywhere from maybe low multi-continental to planetary, but as Troy is maybe about to mention to you, it's probably not going to be enough.
Yeah, so just like we're kind of just winking off Deku again and just seeing how far we can truly get this guy, let's get into what Boruto just actually gets to consistently. Now, Boruto fights Ao, and I know I said he's like a souped up Jonin, whatever. The people he's compared to can fight guys who fought Biju. And if you don't know what a Biju is, in Boruto and Naruto, Biju are able to easily vaporize mountains, and if we get them to Continental, they're able to withstand and output multi-continental and continental levels of force throughout multiple calcs and just feats that we see throughout the series. Boruto easily scaling to someone on the higher echelon of these, such as Ao, while he's souped up on mechanics and technologically advanced, he should also have no trouble dealing with Deku's AP at all. And if you want to take it a step further, when he unlocks the true essence of Karma and Momoshiki control Boruto or Borushiki, they're getting into the planetary solar system and higher level ranges of power. So it's just even more of a stomp in Boruto's favor.
This kind of thing, it makes the debate for Deku versus Boruto so strange, right? These characters, they don't really match up in stats whatsoever. It really doesn't matter where you have Deku on the low end or the high end. He really can't compete. I mean, maybe if you stuck him in the world of Naruto, right? He could probably get pretty far considering the levels that we're able to get him to, but he doesn't really reach those upper tiers in Boruto. It's unfortunate for the character, and it doesn't mean that he's trash, right? Definitely doesn't mean that he's a bad character because he can't get here, but a lot of people will tell you that. There's a lot of hate for Deku out there.
Yeah, I was about to... People seem to think power scaling matters in the grand scheme of things. The authors don't write these stories for us to pit two characters and make them hate each other, right? In reality, Boruto and Deku might be friends, and if they were in a verse together, they probably would just scale to each other. There can be a statement next month where Kishimoto comes out and says, "Oh, if Deku and Boruto fought, it'll be a tough fight. It might push Boruto to the edge, or Deku might come out victorious." This is just our own opinions on what the author has put forth. None of this 100% factual, and they don't affect the story at all.
Right, and similar to what Troy said, we don't know where Deku's gonna top out at, right? We could come back tomorrow and make a part 2. If Deku somehow reaches these same levels, because like he just had the 120% of One for All. Right?
Yeah,
we have no idea where that's gonna go by the end of the story. He still hasn't beaten Shigaraki yet. All for One,
and also
around. There's a lot to still unpack with this.
To kind of add on it, the way we scale characters in general, we usually don't know the maximums. Right. We usually go off like what they at least can do. Mm-hmm. For all we know, Deku could have universal levels of power. We just don't know.
Right. But it was a fun video, and we'll have more to come.
Yes, sir. We can last in the future.
Yes, sir. This isn't the last video that we'll make about Deku. It certainly won't be the last My Hero video. There'll be a point where I do end up talking about how strong Deku actually is. I'll probably cover Bakugo as well, but I definitely will have a Star and Stripe video coming up talking about
Yep.
how strong she is, because she's a pretty busted character that a lot of people don't talk about much. Yeah. So until next time, it's your boy Smurf and
Yes, sir.
Simply Troy.
It's simply
We signing
Troy.
out.
Yes, sir. Goodbye. You recorded. Yes.
No.